4 police officers, 1 man. He said he couldn't breathe. They kept choking him. He died. Nobody has the answer for that. And that's a problem. Time for the Q&A. What's going on, everybody? This is Dre Baldwin, DreAllDay.com. As you saw in the introduction, for those of you who don't know, there has been a situation going on the last couple of days. There's a guy up in New York, Staten Island, got accosted by some police officers. Actually happened back in July. The cops were talking to him. They had a verbal confrontation. One cop came from behind the guy, grabbed him in a chokehold, a move which is actually outlawed by the police department in New York. Put a chokehold on this guy because he's a real big dude. He's like 350 pounds, about 6'3". Chokeholds the guy. 4 cops had to bring this guy down to the ground. Why they wanted to arrest him, who knows, because it didn't seem like he was about to be arrested until he kind of mouthed off at the cops. The 4 of these cops had this guy down, face down on the ground. They're holding him down. They got all this weight on his back. He's saying he can't breathe. The guy was foaming at the mouth. He died. And all of this was caught on film by an innocent bystander, supposedly, at the time of the crime, at the time of the situation, we'll say. It just came out a day or two ago that none of the police officers who were involved will be indicted, which basically means they're not going to have charges brought against them, so they don't have to go to court to basically answer for what happened that day. And the reason that, for those of you who don't know about this, it's important that you do know about it. And even if you think it's not important, this right here is my domain, this is my platform, and I feel like I do need to say something about this because there's been several incidents going on over the last couple of years that we know about, and a lot of stuff going on that people don't know about, and I feel like I should speak on it from the position that I have on this platform. And those of you who do know about it, you've seen the protests that have been going on in a lot of big cities in America, especially in New York, even down here in Miami where I live. There are protests going on at certain events. And of course, all on social media. You're on social media, Facebook or Twitter, you can't be on it and not see this, even Instagram, and not at least see and wonder what the hell is going on if you do nothing. For those of you who do know about it and you don't understand why there is such outrage by so many people about this, is just the fact that this man was supposedly breaking the law. They said he was selling loose cigarettes which were untaxed, and that's against the law. Okay, let's just say that he was doing that. We're not going to argue the finer points. We're not going to argue the spirit of the law versus the letter of the law. We pay these cops X amount of dollars per year as a salary, and he's worrying about a guy who might be selling cigarettes for what, $1? We're not even going to get into that. Whether he was breaking the law or not, it doesn't even matter. The fact that the chokehold is outlawed in the police department and the guy used the chokehold on this suspect, brought him down to the ground, had him face down, and was putting pressure on his back. That's also in the guidelines of the New York Police Department. You have a person who's obese, and this guy was obviously obese. On top of the fact that he verbally said, "I can't breathe," 4 times. They heard him say it, and they kept the pressure on his back. He couldn't breathe. They kept the chokehold on him just to get the handcuffs on him over these cigarettes, supposedly. But well, whatever reason they had it on. He could have killed somebody. It doesn't even matter. Let's say he was a murderer. The same thing. They're not supposed to use the chokehold. You're not supposed to keep pressure on the guy's back. And it says, if any point the suspect is not able to breathe, whatever you're doing that's causing that, you're not supposed to be doing it. They kept doing it. They killed the guy. It's all on film, and he wasn't indicted. And as I mentioned, indictment means you're bringing charges against a person to which they have to stand in court in front of a jury of their peers and defend their actions, and they'll be found either guilty or not guilty. So an indictment doesn't mean that the cop will go to jail. It just means that he has to go to court to defend himself. And of course, he'll have a lawyer and all of that. And he's not even going to be going to court. And the reason that a lot of people, especially minorities such as myself, have been outraged and raising so much ruckus about this, for those of you who know about it and don't understand why people are so mad, or those of you who don't know about it at all and you're just finding out about it in this video, we are going to get to the Q&A, by the way, is that with this situation, with the situation in Ferguson, Missouri, where a white police officer shot an unarmed black man. Unarmed black man had taken some actions against that cop physically, and the cop ended up shooting him from a distance, fired 12 shots. The cop didn't have to, he wasn't indicted either. He wasn't even brought to court to face the jury and answer for what he did. The same situation with the, not exactly the same, but a similar situation with the Trayvon Martin a year and change ago, where a guy who was working the neighborhood watch wants to attack this kid, or he wants to go after this kid because he thought the kid looked suspicious. They end up in an altercation. This neighborhood watch guy who started the altercation ends up shooting the kid, and he beat the case. He did actually go to court. He beat the case. So that's 3 situations that we all know about that have been high profile with the way we have our news cycle and social media over the last 24 months, the last few years that social media has gotten so big. Everybody has a camera on their phone. Everybody can report the news immediately through your Facebooks, through your Twitters, through your Instagrams, even your YouTubes. Now we're all starting to know about these things, but these situations have been going on for years, and a lot of them have been against minorities, and that has been a problem. It's a problem that's been brewing in the minds of minorities and even non-minorities out there. This is not a black versus white issue. This is not a us against them issue. This is an issue of injustice. And I'm going to say, this is just voicing my opinion, if 4 black cops had approached a white guy and choked him out and he died using the chokehold, there wouldn't even be a question as if they were going to be indicted and brought to court on those charges. And again, that's just my opinion. You can agree with this opinion, you can disagree with this opinion. And there are a lot of people who have said, not a lot of people, but I've heard people say, well, black people kill black people on an everyday basis everywhere around the country. Why is nobody talking about that? That is absolutely true. Black people do kill black people. Whites kill whites. Different races kill their own all the time, but it's not really about that. We have to focus on what happened in this situation, because in this situation where you have a law enforcement officer whose job it is to protect and serve the people is actually killing the person, and they're not having to answer for their actions, that's the part that people are outraged about. It's not even about whether he would beat the case or lose the case. It's the fact that he doesn't even have to answer for it. He's being let off without even having to answer for it. And that's really pissing a lot of people off. And as I said at the beginning of this, I had to say this at the beginning of this video just to let you know what I'm thinking about it, how I feel about it. You don't have to agree with it, but you do need to hear it if you're gonna watch videos on this channel. So that's the end of that. We're gonna get into the Q&A. For those of you who don't know me, nice to meet you. My name is Dre Baldwin. This is the Q&A. We do this every single week here on this channel, where I take the questions and comments from the previous week's Q&A and I address them in this video. So if you have a question that is not addressed in this video, I'll tell you at the end of this how you can get that question addressed. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna read through these questions from the bottom to the top. That means the oldest questions, the ones that were posted the soonest from the last Q&A will get addressed first, all the way up to the most recent ones. And I'm going through these rapid fire for the first time. I haven't read any of the comments or questions on the last video until I'm actually doing it as of the filming of this. This is Friday, December the 5th. Tomorrow, the day you'll be watching this, is Saturday, December the 6th. So let's get right into it without further ado. First question is by Shabazz Killer. It says, I'm a 5'10" small forward in high school and I tore my Achilles tendon. What type of shoe would I recommend for better ankle support? Well, Shabazz, if you tore your Achilles, that doesn't have anything to do with ankle support. And if your Achilles is in a position where you feel like you need support for it so that it doesn't get torn again, that doesn't really have anything to do with the shoe. And that's as far as I know medically. If you feel like you need something to support the Achilles after you injured it, then maybe you're not ready to get back on the court, because when you're healed and ready to play, then you're healed and ready to play. So I would say that that's not really a question that you need to be asking. You should talk to your doctor and make sure you're 100% and cleared to go. And when you get that A-OK, you can go and do your thing, just go do your thing. It doesn't have anything to do with the shoes. Injuries can happen to anyone. A shoe is not going to prevent an injury. As far as ankle support goes, if you are looking for ankle support on a shoe, somebody else may have that question. I'm not an expert in that. I'm not really big on basketball shoes, and even the shoes I do pay attention to and play in, I don't pay that much attention to all these details. People ask me about traction and lockdown and heel support and ankle support and all that shit. I don't know nothing about that. Person I would recommend you take a look at is Nightwing2303. Did a video with him probably last summer, and we done some other things, other projects in different situations. he's a good guy if you want to know something about sneakers, the technical specifications of certain shoes for certain aspects of performance like you're asking about. He's the guy you should go talk to. Next question is Arnold Tanjung. Says, Dre, I play well in pickup games, but when I get in an official game, I don't play well. I'm not confident like I am in the casual game. So I have tips on conquering this fear or weakness. Well, Arnold, I will tell you what you need to do is, first of all, go look at the mental game section of my website. Go on dreallday.com. If you click on the basketball, actually the videos section, there's a section called videos right there at the top. You'll see it. There's a section called the mental game. Click on that and you'll see a bunch of videos about the mental side of basketball, which is exactly what you're talking about. Because it's not like you get good when you're playing casual and then all of a sudden you lose all your skill when it's time for an official game, and then your skill comes back when it's time for a casual game. You're still the same player, just you don't have the same mentality in one situation as you have in the other. So when we fix the mentality, then your game will be equal and consistent across every platform, we'll say. And there's also a section on my site called Guides and Tips, and on there I write about that exact situation, because a ton of players ask me about that. They play well in this case, but they don't play well in this case, even though it's the exact same game, same sport. All of a sudden their skill goes away. So what is the problem? It's all mental, and I address that on my website, dreallday.com. Next question, Dmitry Tukovic. Is a very long question. I don't actually see any questions here, but he said, I read one of your posts on Facebook where I talk about that concept of average people and exceptional people, and he closes it by saying, I guess that's why it's so tough to get out the hood. So I guess he kind of developed some insights for himself. Dimitri, hey, I'm glad to hear that. Next question, Rayman Assassin. Says, your videos are awesome. Thank you, Rayman. He says, when I go into a game, my hands get dry and it becomes hard to catch the ball. Do I have any tips? Well, your hands shouldn't be dry. If your hands aren't normally dry, your hands automatically get dry in the game. I've never actually heard of that, Rayman Assassin. Maybe you might want to try to put some lotion on your hands. That'll moisten them up a little bit. Then it'll be more moist, so then your hands won't be dry. So you can try that and see what happens. Jesse Wicks says, I'm 6'1", I'm only 14, I'm just 14. This season I focus more on defense than offense, but do I have any videos about playing on the ball defense? I play power forward / center on this team, but I think I can lock up shooting guards and even point guards, but I would like some help from you. Jesse, I have a playlist on my channel called Defense. So yes, is the answer to your question. Next question. Ranair says, when everything is said and done, what do I want to be remembered for? Well, you'll have to wait till everything is said and done, Ranair, and when I'm no more, as you say in this question, and then whatever you say about me, we'll just go with that. Next question. Yeah, Mo says, how many inches of vertical did you gain doing the jump manual? I don't know. People have asked me that before, but I've never been a vertical measuring person. I got my vertical measured once at a camp that I went to, but otherwise I never measured it myself, so I can't answer that question. Next, Master Nizumel says, Dre, have you ever boomed it on somebody? Have you ever dunked on somebody? Absolutely. Several times. Maniac Mizuto says, Dre, thanks for responding to his question. And his question for this video is, I play AAU in the summer with a coach that I think is not a good guy, basically. So he got off that team. So he said over the summer, he only played 2 games over 90-something days. And Brooklyn had all these tournaments. I guess he lives in Brooklyn. And the coach wasn't really about anything. So he didn't make his school team, and now he has nothing left to do. So do I have any tips on him finding an AAU basketball coach? Well, Maniac Mizuto, all you gotta do is, you're on the internet, obviously, so go to Google and search AAU basketball programs in your area, whatever your area is, put that in the search too, and you'll see all the results right there. Next, Ramumba Batalier says I should make more triple threat videos. Well, Lumumba, if you were to master 10% of the triple threat videos I've already put out, you wouldn't need any more videos ever in your life. Next question, Derek Rose. Actually, go back to Lumumba. I probably have about 200 to 300 triple threat drills posted on YouTube. So I think you probably only seen 1 or 2 and you think there's no more. You are mistaken, but now you have been corrected. So now you're responsible for adding those skills to your game, because now you know they're available. Next question, Derek Rose says, I'm in 4th grade. In 4th grade, I hated basketball and I've been bullied by people at school and by some kids that I seen at the local rec center, and they're both the best at their age. So there's him and the kid who has bullied him, and they're the same age, and they're the best players at their age. They're age 16. And he said, and that's a fact. He said, when we're there, we've had a little bit of eye contact. He says, do I have any tips on how he can humiliate this guy in a game the next time he sees him? Well, that's a very good question. The best way to humiliate him the next time you see him in a game is, first of all, you got to have more game than him. So if you two are both the best, then it sounds like y'all kind of equal. So I think you got to improve your game, Derrick Rose, to the point where you're way better than him. So then when you play against him, you'll be able to prove that on the court. That's number one. Number two, you probably need to get you're going to need to get the mental side of yourself correct in order to play at your highest level. In order to access your physical skills, you got to have the mental side open. If you got anything missing on the mental side, it's going to be blocking you from using the things available to you on the physical side. So as I referred to the guy earlier in the earlier question, take a look at the mental game videos on my website and also the guides and tips page on my site, dreallday.com. Next question. John Smith says, I enjoy your channel and I watch all your vids. When are you going to make videos on how to get shifty? Okay, I don't know what the hell getting shifty means, but I guess that means doing crossover moves, lateral movements and things like that. Well, John, I don't know. Well, John, actually, there's a conflict here. First of all, you said you watch all of my videos, and you asked me when I'm going to make videos on how to get shifty. There's a conflict there, because anything you could ask about when it comes to actual skill on the court in basketball has been covered hundreds of times over on this channel. So if you watch all my vids, you would already know that, which means you probably don't watch all my vids. I know that's kind of hyperbole that you put that out there, but I never believe anybody who says that. The only person who's seen all my vids is the person who made them, which is me. And the answer to your question anyway, vids on how to get shifty, you have to first of all define what getting shifty means, because I don't think you even know. I know getting shifty is like y'all talk about somebody did a move on somebody. You don't get points for actually doing moves. You get points for scoring baskets. So first of all, you need to define, John, what getting shifty means, and then you define how it applies to you. And whatever your answers are, I guarantee you I got at least 100 vids on it already. Next question. OJBLG says, what do I think about G-Funk? I don't know what you're referring to. Next question. Sebastian Daza says, can I do the Ultimate Athlete and Position of Power programs, both on hoophandbook.com, for those who don't know? Can I do them both at the same time? No. You need to do one at a time, not both at the same time. Montel Bryant says, I'm a 5'11" guard, and I'm wondering how can I further my shooting range. I'm confident in my mid-range, but when I shoot threes, everything changes. My form changes. He's not making the shots from three, but he can make it mid-range. So he wants to know, how can he make his form as accurate from three-point range as it is from mid-range? So the first thing you probably need to do, Montel, is get stronger. Your body needs to get stronger. There's no one particular exercise. It's not about using any one particular training tool. It's about your entire body getting stronger. Shooting is a whole body movement. It's through your feet, your ankles, your calves, your hips, all your thigh muscles, your quads, your hamstrings, your ass, your core, your arms, everything, your fingers, everything is part of shooting. If you watch somebody shoot a shot, there's no part of their body that's not moving. So all of your body is required for shooting. So you need total body strength. So what you could do is take a look at those two programs and do them. Two programs that just got mentioned in the previous question. The Ultimate Athlete 15-week off-court training program requires no equipment, and the Position of Power, which is an off-court strength training program which uses weights, equipment, a gym, whatever equipment you have access to. So that's what you need to do to improve your shooting range. It's On says, when I retire from basketball, would I play another sport like golf? No. When I'm done with basketball, I'm done playing sports. Michael Jara says, Dre, my name is Michael, I'm 14, I live in London. I'm rated in the top 10 shooting guards in England. I really want to go to the NBA. Do I think he should move to the States to play college ball, or stay here, play European ball, and get noticed so that I can be hopefully drafted? Well, Michael, you probably already know that players have been drafted from both situations. A European who came to the US for college and got drafted that way, or ended up in the NBA that way, drafted or not. And then there are European players who stay in Europe and play, and then they get drafted to the NBA that way, or end up in the NBA through that avenue. So neither avenue, I would say, is going to lessen or increase your chances of making it to the NBA. The only thing that's going to lessen or increase your chances of making it to where you say you want to get is your performance in the games that you play in. So first of all, you have to find out what it is you plan on doing. What is your plan between where you are now and where you want to be in X amount of years? What's your plan to get there, and what is the best way of going about getting there? Since you're rated in the top 10 shooting guards, you probably know or are known by or have access to some people who could give you some really good information coming from Europe as to what situations will work best for you based on what you want to do. Do you want to go to college in the United States? Do you want to live in the USA? Do you want to play in a certain European country? Because I doubt you want to stay in England and play in their league, because there are higher leagues in Europe, and you probably already know that. So you had to figure out what it is you want to do between now and then, what those steps are, and then figure out what the best place to do it is. It's not necessarily about college in the US or overseas in Europe, because either way can get you to the goal. So you need to be more specific. Next question. Ahmed Masood says, I'm 15, should I start going to a gym and lifting? Well, it's not about if you should. Just because you're 15 doesn't mean you should lift weights. If you're 35 doesn't mean you should lift weights. The question is, what is it you want to accomplish? The question is not what should you do. The question is, what is it that you want? Once you know what you want, then we can work backwards to what it is you're going to have to do to get there. So first of all, you got to answer that question. Next one is Saraku15. Says, first he asked, did you incur college debt? If so, have you paid it all off? Well, unless you're going to work as my accountant, Saraku, I don't think we're even going to address that. But next, the actual question he asked, the useful one, it says, I'm about to transfer to a D1 school from a county college. I'm studying personal finance, and I'm wary of getting into debt. But I know playing D1 basketball can greatly help me jumpstart a basketball career. And he says, let me add that I'm not looking to work a job for someone else other than if it fits on the basketball team in the long run. I'm not passionate about any degrees in college at the moment. So my only incentive for going to college right now is basketball, and it costs about $2,000 a semester at the college I'm about to graduate. This university I'm transferring to is way more expensive. Well, Saraku, here's the thing. First things first. You want to go to college and play basketball, but you're worried about incurring debt. Which one is a stronger pull for you? Are you more afraid of the debt, or you're more, what's the word I'm looking for? You are more drawn to the chances of you becoming a basketball player by going to play at college? Because whichever one is stronger, that's the one that's going to win out. Because if the fear of debt is stronger, then you're probably not going to go to college, because you don't want to pay more than whatever it is you paid, $2,000 at the college you're at. And if your desire to play basketball is stronger, then you're going to say, okay, I'll figure out a way to handle the debt if I owe money when I get out of college, because I guess that's what you're worried about. And I'll go after this dream of playing basketball. Now, if everything works out perfectly, maybe you'll make it in basketball. You'll make so much money that you could pay it all off with one paycheck and it'll be done. That's your goal, right? So if that's your number one pull, then you wouldn't even be worried about debt. So I don't know if you're too clear, too focused on what it is you want to accomplish. You seem to be very focused on what you don't want, which is exactly what you're going to create. And I've been listening to a lot of Tony Robbins lately. That's where a lot of this is coming from. But another thing, you said you're not interested in any degrees in college at the moment. Well, Saraku, if you go to college, you're probably going to need a degree. You're going to have to major in something so you have some type of focus. You're just going to school just to be going. If that's the case, then you wouldn't even be in school. Why are you there? You're saying because that's the only way you can make it to the pros. Well, if that's the case, then you need to go to school and do what you need to do so you can get to where you got to go. Overall, based on your question, it seems like the fear is controlling you right now. And as long as the fear is controlling you, you're not going to accomplish anything that you want to accomplish. So that's the part that you need to start with. And I suggest you take a look at my book, The Mirror of Motivation, which you can get at dreallday.com/mirror of motivation. That might help you with the mental side of things right now, because it's not about the money, it's not about the basketball, it's all about your questions of fear right now, because that's the main thing that's controlling you. Next question, Kyrie Irving says, if LeBron was to ask you to play him one-on-one for $5,000, would I do it? Yeah, because you didn't say we were playing that the winner gets $5,000. I mean, he's offering me $5,000 just to play in the game. So yes, I tell him he got to pay me up front. Next question, Justin Downs says, I recently got cut from tryouts. I know why. I know what I need to work on. It's a mental game primarily and scoring over bigger defenders. But I have a problem. I live in New York and it's cold basically, and there are no YMCA gyms that are open for me to train in. He says, I do the Ultimate Athlete Hoop Handbook, but I don't want my skills to decrease. What do I recommend he does, since he doesn't want to waste 4 months without skill training? He also can't get into his gym. Well, Justin, it seems like you got all the excuses down perfectly. Question is, what are you going to do? You pretty much laid out everything that you can't do, everything that you won't do, and everything that's not in your favor. So now let's get off of the negatives, because the more you focus on the negatives, the more they're going to be what you're basically drawing yourself to. So what is it that you want? You want to practice your skills so that your skills don't go down. You want to continue to improve your game skill-wise, right? Which means you need to get on a basketball court. So we know these things. Where is a basketball court? You say there are no gyms around you and you can't get into your school. So let's just keep those out of there so we don't stop talking about what doesn't work. Let's talk about what does work. There are basketball courts in New York City. I've been in New York City. There are a lot of basketball courts, but you're saying the problem is it's too cold. Well, if that's all you got, Justin, and that's all you got. So you have to ask yourself, same thing I was asking the earlier question. Are you more driven by the fear or the discomfort? For you, it's not fear, it's discomfort. You say it's uncomfortable to practice outside, but it seems to me, based on the way you worded this question, that that's the only option you have. And you said you don't want to lose your game from not practicing for 4 months. So which one is it? Do you want to keep your game over the next 4 months, or do you want to stay comfortable and not practice in the cold? You have to answer that question, and whatever your answer is, we'll know by your actions. Next question. JSG028 says, how do you increase your stamina and be faster? I would suggest the Ultimate Athlete 15-week off-court training program, a hoop handbook that covers stamina, covers speed, covers quickness, strength, power, agility, flexibility, explosiveness, vertical jump, and taking care of your body in general. Requires no weights, no equipment, no gym. Next, Chris Damian says, the right side of my abs are more defined than the left side because I do a lot of fadeaways to my right. Do you know any exercise of how I isolate only the left side of your abs? Chris, I seriously doubt that that's accurate. I think maybe that's just the way it looks to you when you look in the mirror, but I doubt that's accurate. So I'm not going to give you an actionable answer to that question because I believe it's based on a false perception. And he asked another question. He says, I know you aren't in a shoe or sock guy, but what are your favorite kind of socks currently? Do I like Nike Dry Fits, Elites, Jordans, low, medium, or long? I don't even know what any of that shit is. I just put on a pair of socks and play. Next question. Nerf Dude 981 says, will I make a Larry Bird and Magic Johnson hoop handbook in the future? Probably yes. John Durant says, what are the top 5 books I would recommend for all people and why? Well, I'm not going to go into the why, but I'll give you 5 books. I'll say Buy a Game by Dre Baldwin. I'll say Robert Greene, 48 Laws of Power, The 50th Law by Robert Greene and 50 Cent. I will say Relentless by Tim Grover. And if I give you one more, I'll go with The 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss. Finn Ale says, are you a fan of Derrick Rose? I like Derrick Rose, good player. I had to trade him off my fantasy team, but I like seeing Derrick Rose do his thing. He's a very talented player. Harry Sherwood says, who do I think is the MVP of the NBA at the moment? Well, I think it's too early to really do the MVP talk. I think maybe around mid to late January, once people have put together a solid half a season or close to half a season, we can say, all right, this guy has been right now the MVP. But now, a month and change into the season, I think it's too early. I know people are going to talk about it anyway, but who cares now? It's too early. Anybody could come out and get MVP. Like Kevin Durant can still be MVP right now, even though he's only played in, to date, 1 game. Because he could put together the next 50, 60 games, whatever number of games there are left, and still get it. So I think it's too early. Next, Darius Gordon says, I worked on my game all summer. I gotten better, but anyways, I'm class of 2016, and the basketball season already started. So the first quarter, I didn't do well. I'm not playing basketball for my school, but I decided to play for my local community center, okay? I was wondering if you can get looks from colleges. It might be a dumb question, but I just want to know. By the way, I'm 16 and a junior. Well, Darius, this is how you know if you can get looks from colleges. Do you see any college coaches and/or scouts in your community center watching the games? Answer is probably not. And the only time they would come is if they heard that there was somebody in there that was worthy of their time and attention. Now, the question now for you, Darius, is are you that player? Honestly, you don't have to answer it out loud. You don't have to don't leave a comment in the video. Answer it to yourself. Are you worthy of that attention? If the answer is not an absolute yes, then you know what you need to do. You need to improve your performance. It's not about the community center. It's not about the coaches. It's all about you. When your performance is at a level that warrants that attention, then the attention will find you. If the attention is not finding you, that means that there's nobody in there who warrants that attention. Because when there's somebody that good, people find out. Next question. Rokas says, I'm right-handed, but I shoot with my left. Is that normal? Well, Rokas, depends on what you define as normal. The game is on. Says, Dre, thank you for bringing us ballers all this content. I appreciate it. Well, you're welcome. He says, I was wondering if the goal of playing pro basketball or college or high school isn't achieved at whatever level, what do I think a player should do? They might not be good enough to make the team, but still love the sport. My friend is going through a tough time. He wants to make it, but he gets tired easily. He's not really that good. He doesn't seem like a dude that would be much of a player. Even if he did make the team, he just likes to play pickup ball, and he plays better that way. What advice should he give his friend if he doesn't turn out to be the player that he wants to be? Well, first of all, the game is on. You have to find out what it is your friend wants to achieve. And I'm not sure you know exactly what your friend wants, because he might tell you one thing, but the reality will be another thing. And one thing that I've found out in life is that you don't want to force too much advice on people if they don't want it, if they don't ask for it. You give advice to somebody if they ask you for advice. So if your friend's not asking you what he should do with his life, which I doubt he has asked you, because it doesn't sound like he said anything to you. It seems like you have a lot of observation of this person and you have a lot of opinions about him, but I don't think he even cares about what you're going to tell him to do with his life. He might already have his own plans and his own ideas that he just didn't share with you. So I would suggest to you that you focus more on what you need to do, and if he asks you, then talk to him honestly as a friend, what you think. But until he asks you, leave it alone. Next question. Eshwar Tangirala says, I find it hard to practice a pick and roll without using chairs, a screen and roll type action without using chairs. I said that I don't use anything but a ball and a basket. Have I been through this? Well, no, Eshwar, you can't practice a pick and roll with inanimate objects. And a pick and roll is basically 4 people involved. You, your teammate, and the 2 defenders defending you and your teammate. They move and they react. Chairs do not. So using chairs isn't going to help you get better at doing a pick and roll. Using a chair gets you better at dribbling around the chair. If you want to get better at doing pick and rolls, you have to play in actual games and do pick and roll actions with actual people who will actually respond. Next question. Strange Hands 89 says, I'm working on my vertical leap and I'd like to have your opinion on my weekly workout schedule. And he basically lays out his workout schedule. Strange Hands 89, I do not do that. I do not assess people's workout schedules. I do not make an individual program for somebody because they ask me to. I'll make a program for you if you buy it, because that takes me time and effort to put a program together for a person, which is why the programs and a lot of things that I offer are for sale, because it takes my time and effort to make them. So if you want me to assess or make something for you, then you ask me for my time, and my time is not free. So that's why, for anybody who wants to know why, the answer is the answer. Next question. Edwin Reina says, I'm a middle school hooper. Actually, before I get to that, but I do make my time available to do this, where I can go through each person's question quickly for the community, because this helps everyone. So it's not about just one person, it's about everyone. But anyway, back to the question. Edwin says, I'm a middle school player. How do I make the transition to a high school player? Well, when you graduate from middle school, Edwin, you're going to be in high school, and then all of a sudden you're in high school. So there, the transition is done. Martin Ivanov says, there's something that makes you really angry. What frustrates you? Is there one thing? Not anything I can think of off the top of the head, but if there was, I wouldn't tell you. Next question. Walter McCann says, what are your favorite shoes to wear off court? Favorite shoes to wear off court. Not any one in particular. When I got something that I like, I'll put it on, or if it matches something that I'm wearing or it goes well with the outfit, then I'll wear it. But there's no one particular pair right now. I think the last time I wore shoes off the court was the Jordans, the 29s, whatever number they are. Next question, SLXDO3 says, you were stuck on an island. What are 3 things you would like to have with you? I would only want one thing with me, a boat. And that's it. And some gas. Michael Patterson says, I'm a freshman in community college with no basketball team. I want to play basketball next year for any college. How do I go about trying to get on a team? Well, Michael, you can't get on the team until you're enrolled in school. So first of all, what school do you want to go to? You got to figure out what it is you want and where you're going to do it. And once you get to the school, then you can read my guide about walking onto a college basketball team, which is featured on my website, dreallday.com. So you got to answer that question first. What school? Was there 1,000 colleges? You got to pick one first. T1N86 says, Dre, do you ever drink from regular glasses or mugs? Just kidding. I guess he's referring to this water bottle. And the answer to your question is no, I actually don't. I always drink from this water bottle. He says, who's the best and most respected female baller you've come across or know of? Off the top of my head, I had to say my buddy Ruth Riley. She played at Notre Dame. We worked out together a time or two. I think she retired. I know she retired. She announced her retirement from basketball this past summer. Next question. Kobe Valentin says, I'm a 5'5" guard and I'm playing at freshman level. I'm trying to get the coach to notice me as a point guard, but the coach has made me a 2 guard all my life. I played point guard. How can I have a coach notice me as a point guard? I'm an all-around player, average, and he gives me these stats that he averages. Well, Kobe, if you're capable of playing a position, why don't you open your mouth and ask the coach, what can I do to get a shot at playing this position? Or can I tell you I'm able to play this position too? Can you give me an opportunity to show you? So everything that you're saying to me, you need to say to your coach. Use your communication skills. Next question, Tyler Waffle says, I'm a sophomore in high school. Due to injuries and some other issues, I couldn't make the high school team the past couple years. I work out, but I'm still small and skinny. I know I'll eventually get bigger as I continue to work out, but I don't know how long it'll be till I'm as big as everyone else. I'm a great passer. I can shoot and drive at will, but a lot of people think that I'm not good. This is what he's saying. He says, scouts have never heard of me. No one has. Is there NBA hope or Division I college hopes? I'm not even close to this other kid who was on varsity team our freshman year. I feel like he will succeed and I won't succeed. I used to go through many self-esteem issues in my life, and I helped him through many of those self-esteem issues, so he thanked me. And so you're the only person I ever heard of who says that insecurity can be a good thing. It absolutely can. He's correct. And I was correct, actually. And thanks for all your mental tips and such. I've improved a lot socially. I'm sorry if this is too long. Well, Tyler, you're welcome, first of all. And here's the thing, Tyler. You're asking, first of all, you say that you've dealt with a lot of self-esteem issues and got better. I feel like you're still dealing with a lot of them because you're asking me, is there hope for you? And that's an incorrect question. That's based on an incorrect assumption that somebody else can decide if there's hope for you achieving a goal that you have. I don't know if there's hope of you achieving the goal because you don't know if there's hope of you achieving the goal. No individual on this earth can tell another person what they're capable of doing. That person, each one of you watching this video, you have to decide what you're capable of, and then you go after it. Once you know exactly what it is you want, you'll be able to go after what you want a lot easier because your brain will be aligned with your actions. A lot of times I hear from people, they don't know exactly what they want. They're asking all these questions, but they're not even clear on what it is they want to accomplish. So you're taking all these actions, doing all this thinking and talking and reading and hemming and hawing. You don't even know what it is you want. So Tyler, what is it that you want to accomplish? Once you can summarize that in, let's say, one sentence for you, not for the YouTube audience, not for the other commentators, but for yourself, then we can work from there, where you are, where you want to go. Once you're clear on where you are, which it sounds like you got a pretty good idea of where you're at. Now you're saying you want to get to somewhere else, but I'm not sure exactly what it is you want to get to right now. It doesn't have to be the NBA now. It might be get on the team, then it might be score some points, then it might be get some steady playing time, then it might be a starter. So it can be steps to it, but you have to know what it is that you want to accomplish right now. I'm not sure you do. Another thing is, I can't tell you what you're capable of doing. Like I told you at the top of this answer, you had to answer what you're capable of doing. I can't say if you have hope of making it to the NBA or college because this guy made the team and that guy didn't. I'm sure you know if you think about it, or maybe you don't. Just because somebody makes the basketball team as a freshman doesn't mean they're destined for the NBA. Because you know how many high school freshmen are on varsity teams right now in America? I guarantee you it's more than 500 of them. You know how many jobs there are in the NBA? Exactly 500, or actually a little bit less. We'll just say 500. So not everybody who makes the varsity as a freshman is going to the NBA. Not everybody who makes as a sophomore, junior, senior, I don't care what level, high school or college, doesn't mean you're going to go to the NBA. There's a whole lot of factors to factor into that. And you need to stop comparing yourself to what other people's path, and compare yourself to what you are capable of doing. And I'm not sure you have an understanding of what you're capable of, or you have a clear picture of what you want to be capable of or what you want to accomplish. Once you get clear on that, then we'll be able to take steps to get you where you want to go. But you need to figure that out first. Next question. We got 2 left. Messiah V says, I'm sure you played with some ball hogs in your lifetime. Have you ever confronted a player for not passing the ball enough? Do you think ball hogs are low IQ players, or they simply have a lot of confidence in their own game? Well, first of all, Messiah, a ball hog, quote unquote, is a very relative term. So if I say somebody's a ball hog because they shot the ball twice in a row, somebody else could be watching that exact same player and say, well, those were good shots. They're not a ball hog. They were just open and they had a chance to shoot. So ball hog is very relative, because I might go do something in the game and put the video out, and somebody might say, well, you're a ball hog because you did X, Y, Z, or you shot it on this play and you made it, but one of your teammates was more open, so you're a ball hog. I might say, well, I'm just a better player than him. I had a better chance of scoring, and after all, I did score, so I'm not a ball hog. So when you say, do I think ball hogs are, first of all, you got to have a clear definition of what it means to be a ball hog, and I don't know what yours is. I don't even use that phrase to call anybody a ball hog. If somebody can play, they can play. And I'm not referring to the person that we're talking about. I'm talking about myself, and I'm talking about you. So if you're playing with somebody who may be shooting too much, or you think they're a selfish player, why don't you press your will on the game? Actually enforce your will on the game. This is the actual word I'm looking for. I can't think of it at the moment. But once you get yourself involved in the game by force of will, you won't have to worry about what somebody else is doing or what their IQ is. If you're a good player, you're going to stand out on the court. You're going to make plays on both sides of the ball, and you don't have to worry about, nor do you have to complain or think about what somebody else on the team is doing, because everybody's going to be thinking and watching you. So you need to step your performance up, myself, so that you don't have to worry about who's a ball hog, who's not, what their IQ is, because none of that matters, because you can't control any of it. Only thing you can control is what you do. Next question. Smack It says, Dre, please answer. I need your help. I was playing, this is the last question, by the way. I was playing real good, playing against a really good player last week. At the end of the game, he told me I was a good player. He was pumped up because us alone, those 2 guys alone pretty much dominated together. So in the moment, he was pumped up. He said, he smacked me on the ass, like as a good game type thing. And he said, he smacked the guy back on the ass and said, you played a good game too. And the guy got mad at him, and he says, the guy got mad at him, basically talks about him now. Every time he sees the guy says something's wrong with him, basically calls him names or whatever. And he said, he assumes, Smack It says, I assume this is bad. What should I do? Have you ever slapped a teammate on the ass like that and they got mad about it, or he said been called gay or anything like that? No. Answer to the question is no, I haven't. I don't know who this guy is or why they're thinking this or why you even came up with this question. If this actually really happened, you can't control what somebody else says, and you don't have much control over what somebody else does, but you do control your response to it, and you control your mind. And if he did say something about you or call you a name or whatever, take exception on what you did, if this happened last week and you're still thinking about it, then that means you're not controlling your mind right now, because you're still thinking about that situation a week later, still thinking about what this guy said, still thinking about what happened, still thinking about what somebody else might be thinking about you. You don't have to be thinking that way. Nobody's forcing you to think that. It's the same thing I said in the trash talk videos. Players ask, what do you do when somebody trash talks you? Who said you had to do something when somebody trash talks you? Somebody talking to you does not force you to do anything. If somebody walks in the room right now and says something to me, no matter what they say, positive or negative, no word that comes out of their mouth forces me to respond physically, emotionally, verbally. I don't have to do anything. I could act like I didn't even hear it. I can completely ignore them if I want to. I can say something back. I can take some physical action, but I don't have to do anything. Nothing that anybody else says controls you. So what you're talking about right here is that something somebody else said is controlling your mind. You need to fix that. It has nothing to do with that person. It's all about you. So that's the Q&A for this week. Everybody, thank you for coming through. You have questions that you would like me to address, leave them in the comments to this video. 1 question per person. Do not respond to somebody else's question or comment, no matter what your input is, because then I had to delete you. That's it. WOYG.net is where you get your merchandise. I'm going to put a link up there for that. Work on your fucking game. DreAllDay.com. Thanks for checking out this video. Make sure you check back next week, the same day, to catch more tutorial content. Check out all my favorite content up here. All my social networks, you can follow me over here. Make sure you are subscribed to catch all my new content coming out here on this channel every single day. Work on your game.